fields of pest management and public health for over 36 years. He has worked in Africa, Europe, and North America. He is the founder and president of Ecopest and the leading pest control service and product supply company in Canada. He completed his undergraduate degree in biology from the University of Ottawa and a postgraduate in pest management from the Simon Fraser University. He has served as president for the Pest Management Association of Alberta and member of the board of directors, the Canadian Pest Management Association from 2002 to 2008. I also like to introduce Samir Thawer. He is a proven leader in the pest management industry as the operations manager for Ecopest. Samir is currently the president of the Alberta Pest Management Association, which is a group that promotes good pest management practices and education for its members, which includes the applicators or PCOs from the province of Saskatchewan. Samir has a degree in engineering and has over a decade of experience in the pest management industry. I'd now like to hand it over to Amin and Samir.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for that introduction, Amanda, and thank you, Adam, for all the work that you've done in coordinating all this. So I just want to begin by saying, thank you to SARM for having this webinar, and thank you for providing this opportunity for us to become partners and the kind of main distributors of products to your members. Hopefully this webinar today is going to be about an introduction about our company and what else we can do to support the products that you're buying through us. So with that, I'll just pass it on to Samir to continue with the conversation.
Thank you, Amin, and thank you everyone for joining. Thanks again, Amanda, for introduction and Adam for coordinating this event. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today. So this presentation is kind of broken into three parts. The first part is we're just going to tell you a little bit about Ecopest and a little bit about the services we offer and the resources we have available to the RMs as well as any of your constituents or your teams. And then after that, we'll get into a little bit of a kind of a discussion or presentation around the biology of some of the pests that you deal with. And I believe there's you will be seeing a poll question a little later here just to give us a sense of the kind of pests that you deal with. And then Amin will get into speaking to a little bit of those and the products and pests and the products that we have to offer. And then I will conclude the presentation by just going over the process of the ordering as well as to answer any questions you may have around the process of that. So just to tell you a little bit about Ecopest, we are the largest independently owned pest management company in Western Canada and based out of in Western Canada, headquartered in Edmonton, but we service throughout Canada through our different partnerships, and I'll speak to that in a little bit in a bit. So essentially, we offer pest control services, fumigation services for different type of vessels or containers or different kind of grains, other types of fumigation services required, as well as odor control services. So we combine these three services together for various customers of ours. We're also into the pesticide manufacturing business, where we will share with you today some products that we basically manufacture for Ecopest with the label for Ecopest and has our essentially brand on it, as well as our name recognition, as well as our professional expertise behind that product. We also are in the pest product distribution business, which is why primarily we have been dealing with SARM, but we're hoping to, after today, be able to give you a little bit of more sense of what else we have to offer more than just the products that you potentially are used to seeing from us. Just a little bit more about Ecopest, and although this is, we've been around for over 30 years in business, and we service over 30,000 residential, commercial, institutional, government, and industrial clients. And the reason we share this is because over the 30 years, we've learned the needs and perhaps also the pest biology and other things that we can offer to different customers. And based on this service that we've offered over the 30 years, we are experts in pest management, but through that knowledge also have been able to understand the needs of commercial customers in terms of the products that they need and domestic users as well. So in your case, it would be mostly commercial, but perhaps also domestic for the residents of your municipalities. We have physical locations in terms of our branches or operations in Edmonton, where we are headquartered, and then we have a location in Regina and Saskatoon, in Calgary, Fort McMurray, Vancouver, Prince Rupert, and then we have service partners throughout Canada. So we offer our products and services across the country and have good kind of expert knowledge. The biggest thing that we wanted to touch on today around our company was this kind of distribution network. So we have manufacturing and fulfillment centers both in Eastern Canada and Western Canada. So depending on the order, depending on the product, we're able to ship it from our Eastern Canada fulfillment center or our Western Canada fulfillment center or from our local offices in Regina and Saskatoon. So it really just depends on the product, how much stock we have at which fulfillment center, and what goes on here. If I may just ask one thing of everybody today, if you want to make a note, these three websites, or maybe at least just if you can make a note of them somehow, you'll see it in the presentation. But that's kind of where you will find everything we've talked about today, or will be talking about in terms of resources. You will find information about our company. You will find information about the people that are in the company. You'll find information about the services we offer. You'll also find information on the products we sell, both on the commercial end and the domestic end, and more domestic focusing on folks and individuals and their individual needs in their homes. Pest Control Canada is another website that we have, and that particular website services for various needs of different customers, where we can identify the pest for you, so you can upload a picture, you can ask an expert a question, and we're able to respond via chat or a phone call to say, yep, this is a rat, or this is a mole, or this is a bed bug. And so that's the kind of other services we have in place that we can offer. And again, just to add in terms of the diversity of the clients that we supply services and products to, cities and municipalities like yours, universities and colleges, we have contracts with various institutions of learning, schools, hospitals, commercial buildings, food plants, senior lodging, apartment buildings, multi-residential, as well as private homes. So, we service all these in terms of our pest control and day-to-day technicians servicing the company, but also for many of these spaces, we actually supply products in pest control, products in odor control, and stuff like that. This slide is also just to gives you a range of services we offer in terms of as a company. We do what we call something called canine inspections, where we have bed bug dogs that are trained to detect bed bugs using their scent as well as their ability to smell. So that is a service that we offer. We also offer, creative ways of dealing with pests, and one of them, particularly around bed bugs, is using heat. Of course, rodent control, insect control, pigeon control, which is something that is not very widely out there where companies do pigeon control, but we have the appropriate protocols in terms of control, in terms of using different technologies of exclusion, which is building up net or spike, to doing some sort of control program using trapping, or an arbitral program, which is more like a stressing agent for pigeons to send a signal that this is not a space for them, or using something called ovo control, which is birth control for pigeons. And we offer other kind of auxiliary services, such as cleanups of mice droppings and rat droppings, and places where there can get some hazardous in terms of the accumulation, we do a lot of exclusion work around birds and rodent stories. So if we have to, we have had to mesh and trench around homes or around certain buildings so mice cannot get through, to just doing simple sealing of entry points. Um, Also, of course, like I talked about, that we do pesticide manufacturing, and later in the presentation, you will give you examples of the products that we manufacture based on need and the sales piece. I've talked about odor control. Um, the last three pieces here that are kind of important to us in terms of kind of the messaging for today as well is that, Ecopest really, we want to be your your support structures, your experts in terms of providing advice. We have, as a company, lots of knowledge in terms of pests. You just heard Amin's background, you heard my background, and we're just the two of us. Is that we are a over 50 people company, and we have some people that have been in this industry for a long time. And not just the company itself, we have a network of individuals around us, experts that have dealt with registration of products or have dealt with supply of products and have experts in the US or other parts of the world, where particularly we're able to reach out and get the answers that we need around pest control, pest product, pest identification, um, and our breadth is very large, and I wanted to just make sure that everybody knows that we're not just dealing with pests that may potentially be structural pests, if I may call them, the mice, rats, and perhaps other things. We also deal with, landscape potentially pests, tree pests. We have experts that can look at a tree and say, yeah, this tree has this particular disease, and how do you then get the appropriate arborist or appropriate treatments done to save that tree. And so, we can be experts in that area. We also provide what we call virtual inspection and advice, and what that is that you can send us we can send you a link, and just like we're communicating today, like you see me on video, we can actually work with you to identify the problem, identify potential inspections, recommend the appropriate products. The products can be shipped to you if bought from us, and then we can assist with making sure that your issue is taken care of, because it's not always practical to have a team on the ground, and you may choose not to do that, so we can support that through technology. The final piece that I wanted to just touch on was the after sales and service. Like I said, we have lots and lots of knowledge, lots and lots of information to share. This is one of the sessions. We would love to share more. I'd love to talk to the RM in terms of your PCOs if they have any questions, they need any support, they need any type of uh, questions around credentialing, whatever it takes. You heard from Amanda around Amin's background and serving in different associations in Canada as well as in Alberta, and Saskatchewan is kind of part of the association. I am the president of the Alberta Association. So, happy to help in any format that we can to make sure that we are providing the resources and support that the SARM membership needs. Just to kind of touch base on a couple other things here. As you can see, this slide just speaks to our affiliations with the Pest Management Association of Alberta, CPMA, which is a Canadian Pest Management, and the National. And all these, are associations with have different roles in the country around safe practice and safe public health of pest control and the people. And so, we can draw upon different resources to support the SARM membership. Also, in terms of safety, just wanted to touch base on this. We are core certified in Saskatchewan. And so, for municipalities that perhaps may say, hey, you know what, we want you to have your PCO or your technician just show up to assist us with the job. Be certain that we are fully safety certified to be in your spaces and making sure that we're doing what's the best interest of public health and public safety. We are also what we call a quality pro certified. So as a company, whether it is product service, product sales, and manufacturing and all that stuff, we are quality pro certified, which means that we meet a certain level of excellence in pest management. And then we are also Green Pro certified, which also kind of speaks to looking at environmentally friendly or environmentally conscious application methods, products that we sell, products that we use, and stuff like that. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it over to Amin, and he'll take it from here.
Thanks for giving that brief background. So the whole key here is that, before we got into the product manufacturing business and distribution, we were a pest control. We're, specialized in pest control services. So what we bring to the table is this whole concept of integrated pest management. Now, integrated pest management is actually a philosophy. When people bandy this name around, but really what we would like to do is give you a support on all the products that you buy, how to effectively use them. And remember, when we talk about Green Pro certified, this philosophy goes with us, more than 30 years. Just in the name Ecopest, eco is, ecologically, ecological pest control. That was the whole idea about with this name, and that was 30 years ago, even before the, environment became such an important factor. So the whole idea here is that how do you control your pests optimally and sustainably with minimal impact to the environment? And that's something that we are here to, that's why we've selected the kind of products that we sell, the kind of products we manufacture, and the kind of services we provide. And we're more than happy to help you with the selection of products, or if you're using a product in a certain way, how do you optimize that use, and how do you sustain control and get good control, right, of your situation, right? So that's what it's all about. And of course, the key thing in IPM is education and training, and that's what we're doing today. Because if you're informed, if you're educated, you'll know the difference between a sow bug and a bed bug, or a mouse and a rat, or other rodents, and what they do, their biology. And then the whole key thing is then how do you eliminate them, eliminate these food sources? Why are they happening? Why are they coming to the place? And what do we need to keep them, away from the areas of homes or businesses or other areas? And of course, the last thing is the control measure, chemicals and all. So we always have chemicals and products at the end, because if you just keep on, throwing products at a problem without looking at all the other factors, that's not sustainable. And with this whole new concept of environmental sustainability, I think we need to look at the whole picture. Chemicals or non-chemicals are just a portion, I would say 10 or to 15% of the solution, right? So, and that's the philosophy, and we are more than happy to kind of run this whole philosophy down at a future session, or come into your municipalities and actually look at your specific issues and come with a game plan. Do an environmental scan and come with a game plan of what we need to do, or what you need to do, and how we can help you. So with that, and if there's any questions on IPM or methodology, I'll now pass it on to Samir to talk about the relationship between SARM and Ecopest.
Yeah, thanks, Amin. So just on that, I wanted to just give you a little bit of sense as why we feel that the relationship between Ecopest and SARM is something that will be something that is strong and something that we can bring a lot of value. So first of all, as you've kind of heard with us in the last maybe a few minutes here, that we've been around for a while. We're a reputable business, have a breadth of knowledge, a breadth of products, a breadth of services that we can offer and support you. We also supply and manufacture our own products. And when I had initially spoken to Amanda, this was when we were working last year to put this contract in place. One of the things we had talked about was just the range of products that Ecopest is able to offer, and make sure that we're able to support the different RMs, because ultimately they're in the business of supporting you. And so, that's something we had talked about. Also, and I think I also kind of touched on this as I spoke about the large network of centers to distribute from. We get, depending on which product you order, we can get those products to you. We try and get it as quickly as possible based on where the product is stored, how much you need, and how quickly it is to get to you guys. And so that's something that we also talked about. And I hope that you're kind of getting a sense from Amin and I that we believe that we have the expertise in pest management and using, integrated pest management philosophies that Amin briefly spoke about, and that we'll go through in a bit with specific pests, that we're able to give you some expert advice. Um, Also, we are open to providing pest control services for as PCOs or service providers to the RM. We're open to that. We have technicians in Saskatchewan that do all our contracts and other clients that they service, and we're happy to help that. And support in whatever way we can to either be a PCO for an RM if we're not able to find somebody, or if you think there's an opportunity for us to bid, or not bid, but essentially provide a quote on how much that was going to cost. Happy to do that. I believe there's one out there right now for Swift Current that we may consider putting our name in to be able to provide a PCO support to Swift Current. And so happy to do that. But also, I think the most important piece that I want to reiterate again today is that we are here to support you as the RMs. And the residents of your RM. So please feel free. Just give us a call, send us an email. All our contact info is on the SARM website. You don't need to memorize anything. You'll find us on there, and happy to help with that. So I'll pass it back on to Amin because we'll start focusing on pests, and maybe Adam, this would be a good time to just put the poll up so we can just get a sense of people's and, issues. So I guess the question there on the poll is, which of the following is your most common pest? Rats, mice, insects, or wildlife? Right. I mean, I don't know if that gives you a sense. 56% of the people say rats, 44% of the people say mice. I don't see any votes for insects or wildlife, or no votes.
Right, right. So, not a surprise, in Saskatchewan, rats and mice, it's not only Saskatchewan, I would say throughout the country, really. These are, um, you know, this is a bit of a, I would say, icebreaker. Okay, something to smile about during the winter time and during this pandemic time. But rats and mice are the number one pests that people are dealing with because they're called commensal rodents, right? So commensal means you share your food with them, and I don't think they ever asked for our permission, but they are very prolific animals which have learned to live with human beings over the centuries and over thousands of years, really. And we provide them because we provide them with food, we provide them with lodging, and a safe place to live and breed. And the reason they're so successful is they're prolific breeders, right? Um, and a mouse would live to an average about 18 months, can have about 8 litters a year. Each litter can be at least 6 or more. Rats, live twice as long, 2 to 3 years, and they can have huge litters, and they are very, a rat can get into heat 10 hours after giving birth. So they're prolific breeders. I read a fact the other day that if you have a pair of rats under ideal conditions, if each one survived and all the progeny, again, reproduced, in 3 years, you'd have 350 million rats. So, of course, the conditions have to be right. There should be enough food for everyone, and etc. So, these two are the number one pests, and we provide them with all the food. I look at all the farming communities and the grain available, and of course we build all these houses. And remember, the rats and mice were here before, you know, before the humans came on the planet, and they learned to live with the humans. And of course, gophers is another one, which is a rodent which is very prevalent in the prairies. But the rats and mice, coming back to it, are the ones which actually cause disease. If you look at hantavirus, which is not well known, and we can do a separate session on hantavirus, what to be aware of, how do you decontaminate your workspaces, and we can have a separate session on that. If there's an interest, you just let Amanda and Adam know. But they spread diseases, and they're really destructive. So with that, I'm going to get through some of the products we carry. And remember, the manufacturing companies have become really creative because as the mice and the rats, the rodents have adapted to living with humans, and because they are so prolific in reproduction, they can become resistant to the products that are available. Now, resistance is a key thing because let's say you have 100 mice and 2 of them don't get affected by this product. That 2% will then slowly form the next generation in a few years. So then that whole population in that particular area is then resistant to the product you're using. So it's always important to keep that in mind, that you can't keep on using the same products each time. And therefore, the manufacturers have been trying this. We've been faced with this problem. And so some of the products that you're using right now, you look at the active ingredient here is diphacinone. And this one is the pellet form. This one is the mini bait packs, the Ramic ones. It's diphacinone. And remember, the other thing that is listed by the PMRA, or the Pest Management Regulatory Agency, and Health Canada, is that everything, all rodenticide, must be placed in tamper-proof bait stations, not accessible to children or pets. The amount of secondary poisoning that we see in North America is extremely high. If people leave their poison in the garage or in the back seat, we've seen dogs eating it, or the chances of chances of access to the poison, it should be restricted. So I'd like to make sure that when you're doing these applications, that they're housed or they're protected, so the mice have access, but the other animals don't, and especially children. Secondary poisoning the term secondary poisoning means if another animal eats a mouse or a rat which has been poisoned. So what I'm saying is, what I'd said was it is prevalent. I just want to correct myself. That's not as prevalent because they need to eat the body weight in dead mice. So what's prevalent is accidental poisoning, and that's because they're not put in tamper-proof or resistant bait stations. So people have just started taking things for granted and just leaving bait around. So the other products is, the weather block. Now this one is brodifacoum, which is another rodenticide. So if you're getting issue with diphacinone, you can use brodifacoum, and we can help you select that. And instead of this one here, then there's Ratac, which is again the same product, active ingredient. Now these come in different formulations so that it helps with accessibility. Some can be waterproof because mice, are outside, and weather blocks are specifically tuned to surviving in wet situations. This is another bait called Resolve, which is a very soft bait. Again, this is more attractive, easier for them to chew through, and this contains bromadiol. Bromadiol is an excellent product. And remember, these active ingredients are all created because the rodents are getting resistant to one or the other. So the trick is that you replace one with the other, and over time, once they start getting resistance, then you replace that with another product, and in that way you get this sustainability of control, right? Contract is something that we use as a pest control company. We found really good success there, and the pallet, the meal packs, is something that I think some of the RMs are using, which is a little slightly more expensive, but excellent results. Excellent results. And we would like you to kind of use the kind of thought process of mixing and over the years trying different products so that you get better control that way, and more efficiency, and basically you'll save yourself money really, at the end of the day. This product here, Rosol, is for the gophers, right? Ground squirrels, or we call them gophers, or pocket gophers. Years ago, they used to use strychnine. Strychnine is totally discontinued. It is not allowed by Health Canada and PMRA because of all the poisoning that has happened around strychnine. It's very acute, and the secondary poisoning. It's not like this anticoagulants. If somebody eats a dead rat or a gopher with strychnine, that other animal is going to die because strychnine is such an acute poison. Zinc phosphide was another one which is being used and slowly being discontinued. In some areas, it is discontinued. So this is an anticoagulant, chlorpheniramine, and I think we already supplied this to some of the RMs. I know Swift Current is using this, and we've been supplying them for many years. The other one is called a Giant Destroyer. This is actually a gas stick where you it's sulfur gas, which you light up, and it just goes into the holes, and it's like a fumigant, gets into those tunnels, and some which are hard to reach, which they don't access the bait. You can use this alternative product. So that kind of gives you a sense of some of the products and the diversity of products available from us. And we're more than happy to work with the RMs to choose what works best for your area. And I mean, if whatever you're buying is working for you, it's great. It's when you're coming into some problems that we would be more than happy to help you. And of course, rodent control equipment, which is almost a standard now, that you just cannot apply rodenticides freely. They have to be housed in something which is tamper resistant. Unless if you're throwing bait packs in a crawl space or in the attic space where there's no access for other animals or pets or children. It's very important that you use these tamper-proof bait stations, and feel free to reach out to us. We can supply this to you as well. Some of them we do manufacture, or we import ourselves directly. So we'll be able to provide you with good pricing on that. With that, I'll leave that, pass it on to Samir now, to talk about briefly go through other pests, and which didn't show up on the poll, but just as information.
Great, thanks, Amin. Just to add to something that Amin said, and as I was thinking about it, and he mentioned it, is this concept of being able to rotate bait due to different reasons, resistance. It could be just palatability at that time, and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind, and we are happy to assist with understanding. If you were using diphacenon, what else could there be that's palatable to that particular rodent at that time or a different time, and particularly helping you with finding results. One other thing that's to mention, what we have displayed for you today is just a very small subset of different rodenticides we may have access to. So I think if you connect with us and say, do you guys have something different, new, there's another product called Final Block, which is only to be used in interior settings, but has a great kill rate in terms of infestations. And so that's not listed here. The active ingredient is different, and so we can totally support you. So moving on, the next few slides, I'm just going to quickly give you a sense of the of some of the other stuff we can do potentially if you encounter those issues as RMs or people that live in your municipalities. So in terms of wildlife, we have products and services for skunks, raccoons, squirrels. So here are some examples of traps that we would recommend. We have a two-door skunk trap here. Um, Now, although there's the other raccoon trap, this is a squirrel trap here, and Ecopest actually has but we manufacture our own squirrel traps, which we can supply you. We also do a lot of work in birds, particularly ravens and pigeons. I know there may be some questions around, well, what can you do for ravens because they are technically protected in Saskatchewan, and how does that need to be dealt with? There are different solutions that we can come up with, particularly around perhaps using some sort of trapping if possible. We've got some sonic device type solutions. So really, it's about asking those questions, and if you reach out, we can totally help you. And trapping being one of the most commonly used solutions for a lot of birds. In terms of the insects, if you encounter any ants, spiders, beetles, and I know that in a lot of settings that you have are very common, but there are certain ants, particularly carpenter ants, which is what's one of the one that looks like there for you. They're very, very destructive ants, and I recommend that if you have those to uh, call in a professional to deal with them because eventually it's going to have a larger consequence. So, we deal with all these insects, particularly what in our world we call them crawling insects, so those that crawl on the ground. And then we have got the flying insects, where I know in some of your settings you probably have, you know, places which have a lot of flies, particularly cluster flies or house flies that can be dealt with. Fungus gnats in areas where there's lots of moisture in soils. Fruit flies, which depending on the spaces you are in a lot of centers now, we got to compost everything. So, fruit flies are a bigger issue. And then finally, the stinging insects, which I don't think really matters where you live. You'll probably have encountered a wasp, a hornet, or bees, and we have solutions for all these, and happy to help in different ways. Um, and what we wanted to touch on is here's an example, and I think both Amin and I have referred to manufacturing our own product. Here's a product which is called the Ecopest Total Insect Killer. It's an insecticide, has got a broad range of pests that are on the label for this. We can be used for bed bugs, ants, cockroaches, spiders, a varied amount of insects that are on this. And this is actually a ready to use product, so you don't have to mix it with anything. It's got a higher concentration than any product you can actually find on the shelf, whether you are buying at a hardware store or you're walking into Early's in Saskatoon, or you're going to a store in South Regina at the greenhouse, you won't find this level of concentration of a permethrin content in active ingredient. So, it's a product that can be used not only from an RM standpoint for you guys that are attending, but if you have any pest needs of your own or your family or your friends at home, this is a great product. It can be bought from our stores in any of those two centers, as well as online at ecopeststore.ca. So we just wanted to kind of give you a sense that we look at the different elements of need, and then we manufacture our products accordingly. And in the previous pictures, or I think maybe next to here, I can show you. We have multiple products that we have manufactured ourselves. So you can see there that that was our insecticide product. Right here to the right of the screen, you will see some glue boards, which are, we get manufactured for Ecopest due to um, the level of need and different adhesive type glue type the type of glue and how much glue. So based on that, we've been able to manufacture our own glue boards. Right here on the next one is a copper mesh, which I mean talked about very integrated pest management. How do you basically keep some of these rodents out? And typically, people say you fill your holes with steel wool and stuff like that. But what we've found over the years that steel wool rusts and has different implications depending on where you're putting it. So, we did a lot of research and found that copper mesh was a better alternative. And here you can see a picture of copper mesh that we have manufactured for Ecopest from distributors in foreign countries, and then we get them in, we package them, and then we ship them off to our suppliers, other pest control companies, as well as sell it on the market. And so so I hope that gives you a little bit of a sense of kind of the breadth of the products we have, give you a little bit of sense of the rodents and some of the issues around that, and happy to answer any questions as we come into um, the question and answer session. I will conclude this with the next two slides of the presentation portion of it, and we're happy to take any questions. So I just wanted to kind of walk everybody through kind of the current order process, and I know that Amanda and the team have done their best to share this with you guys. But I know this is a flow chart, and a person like me who's got an engineering background, I would love something to see this, and this is just kind of how I think. But essentially, we have an online order form which can be accessed at the website that Adam just posted in the chat. Thank you, Adam, for doing that. And that's an online order form. You click on that link. We're asking which municipality you are from. Tell us the product you want. It's all a drop-down list. All the products that we sell are listed. All the common products are listed. Give us there is a minimum order quantity there, and then you give us the appropriate delivery address and whatever we need. Once we get that form on our end, we basically look at the stock we have. Where is our stock? Where are we shipping this from? We basically confirm the order, give you a sense of the cost. Sometimes we're able to give you the shipping cost depending where it's coming from. We tell you when it's arriving. We email you, and we email you and SARM to confirm that we have received your order and this is when it's coming. On our end, we take care of all the products. We package them, we pallet them, we label them, whatever is required, and ship off the product. If they are on back order, we will let you know. Once that process is completed, once a month, what we do is we prepare a monthly statement, which we then send to SARM. With that, we send invoices for the individual RMs and their orders, which then SARM uses to basically invoice the RM. One of the requests that we have as part of this process, we would love for you guys, and I know we get a lot of emails asking for what's the quote for this, how much is this, what's this going to cost us, and then we get the order 4 or 5 weeks after the number has come through. One of the asks we have is that if you are planning to buy, if you have a need for this spring, for this summer, if you can place those orders as soon as possible. Right now, as you are all aware, supply chain is not easy. There's a lot of challenges around product getting the products, shipping them off to wherever they need to. As you are fully aware that a lot of these products are actually, that rodenticide particularly is manufactured in the US. So, we need to place those orders, make sure we place them well in time to receive them to meet the demand and the ordering. So the sooner we know, we do have some stock, but if we have a sense of how much you need, and if you can help us by placing those orders as soon as possible, that would be amazing. One thing I forgot to mention that any orders, I believe, over $2,500 is free shipping, right? So just keep that in mind, because if you're going to order a product this spring and then order something else in the fall and adds up to over $2,500, then probably not a bad idea to place one order. So please keep that in mind, and making sure that we're able to get that product to you. And summarize again, supply chain is a problem. Shipping and the pricing for shipping is increasing day by day with the fuel costs. So the sooner we get you the products, I think there will likely be overall savings overall. The products are going up in pricing, so that's always going to have a little bit of an impact on all of us. And inflation has a huge impact on our operations right now. So with that, I know Adam just shared in the chat the resources that the one that I have. Adam, I will apologize. The initial website, it's actually pestcontrolcanada.com, not .ca. So the ones you posted that says .ca, that was my error. If you can just rectify that. So ecopest.ca, ecopeststore.ca, and pestcontrolcanada.com. So with that, that's the end of our formal presentation. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you very much for the wonderful presentation, Amin and Samir. I do see one question here. Wondering how effective is the contract rat and mouse bait plaques in comparison to warfarin?
Well, I think it's you're talking about the contract blocks, right? The bait packs, very effective. Um, Compared to warfarin, I think we've had resistance to warfarin because warfarin's an old product. It's not that it doesn't work. I think the fact that the contract was created bromadiolone, you will see the effectiveness. Um, I think for our service side, we find it as a superior product. So I would say it's very effective, probably more effective. And it's just that again, switching it around does help, but if you try it, you'll get some good results on it for sure.
And if I can add to that, we had done a lot of research around this product and the use of it and other factors. And it is one of the products that's widely used in replacement to the warfarin-based products. The rolled oats product for warfarin, very the product that used to be in the market is very scarce. It's very hard to get nowadays, and likely very limited in the future. So when we did our research, this was what we found was the best other alternative based on the rolled oats. Also, the active ingredient for the contract rock is the one that was developed because rats and mice were getting resistant to warfarin. And so this is a great replacement essentially. Now we do understand it's a little bit more expensive, but we believe that it'll give you much more control much quicker than a warfarin product.
The other thing I need to add is remember warfarin, they call it as a single generation product, and these other ones are second generation. So for warfarin, a mouse would have to have several feedings before it gets into the system, where these ones are single feed. So they just have to eat it once, and that's it. So that's a huge difference. Multiple feeds versus single feeds. Now we know that mice like to feed all the time, but they might just feed it one here. They might eat something else. They might grain a sack, or they'll chew on some soap, and because they need to chew continuously because of their teeth. But that's the main difference. It's a single feed, so just eat it once and you get the result. Rosol is probably more cost effective because you can apply it in so many places so quickly, because there's so many holes out there. The giant destroyer works, but it's more cumbersome. You have to light it, more labor intensive, and so on a cost effective, if you're doing a large area, Rosol is probably a better bang for the buck time.
Option and if you don't have a lot of holes, right? But when I see this pastures, if it's pastures, then the Rosol might be an effective solution. The only thing you want to make sure in those areas is that the burrows that are created by gophers are filled out so that other animals don't have access to that. So once you put the Rosol into the burrow, you just make sure that you cover the holes and then fill them up, and they're very effective.
Yeah, and the methodology and of application and how to get it more effective is something that we're more than happy to share with you because we do it ourselves. So, how do you how much roseal to put in? Do you put a piece of paper on it and then put the dirt back on, or what do you do? For giant destroyers, how do you apply this? What preparation you need to before you apply it. So methodology is something that we can certainly speak to on an individual basis. Um, well, I think this education piece is one area. Online assessments, actually getting into the problem or into your places, um, and doing the assessment online. No other product distribution company can do that. People are, in the past has just been product sellers just peddling goods. We're not only about selling products, but we choose the products we sell and we provide the service and the expertise behind those products to help you and empower you so that you can use it more effectively. Anything else you want to add, Samir?
Work of technicians out there in the province of Saskatchewan, and we can have people come out to just support you in whatever issue you may be having. So those are a few things that we can offer in addition to the education, the online platforms, the product sales, technical expertise around potentially which product can be used, the biology around these pests and everything else.
Is weather block available in smaller lots?
Samir, over to you.
Um, yeah, no, I believe this question has come up in the past as well from the RMs, and no, it is not. This is the only size that is now available in the market.
I guess because it's a commercial product, right?
Yeah, I think it's just due to I think the amount of kilograms that are in place. That's the issue here. So, but that's the only size we can get.
Okay, I just seeing if there's any other questions here. I don't see there's any other questions, but if anyone has any questions about ordering or any of the products, you can either, reach out to me or Samir, and we'd be happy to answer any of your questions. So I'd like to thank Amin and Samir today for their great presentation. You guys provided a lot of great information that I think will help out our members with their ordering and in terms of products that they may need. And I'd also like to thank everyone for taking the time out of their afternoon for attending today. So everybody have a great afternoon and we will talk to you all
Okay.
soon.
Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye.
Thank you. Bye.